Buenos días, muchas gracias.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you for the organizers of Thank you David for the invitation.
Voy a contarles
I'm
una
going to tell you
historia corta.
I'm going to tell a short story. I'm going to try to meet the 20 minutes that I was given.
Eh,
And
Nosotros,
we
primero hablarles de
first I'm
Cementos
going to talk
Argos,
about
que es una compañía de
Cementos Argos
maquinaria y
Cements,
herramientas.
which
En esos últimos
in the
11
last
años
11
ha sufrido unas
years we have
transformaciones
suffered
muy
some
grandes,
transformations
desde el hecho de integrarse, integrarse
for the fact of
económicamente con las plantas
integrating
acá en
the
Colombia,
plants that we
el
have in
proceso de
Colombia
internacionalización, empezar a
and the
invertir en inversión
internationalization
industrial en
process
Estados
and
Unidos
having
y en
plants in the
Colombia.
United States and in
Y voy a
Central
hablarles un
America.
poco solamente
I'm going to talk a
de
little bit
Colombia.
about the
Eh, los
Colombia
servicios
situation. So
que
the
prestamos
services that
son
we
muy
render
diferenciados.
are an
Yo creo que cada
example
uno
of
sabrá
what David
el
mentioned,
título que se le ha adjudicado a estas
which is a
áreas.
typical name that we have given them, which is
Y
services.
nosotros somos un
And
claro
we
ejemplo
are
de
a
ello.
clear
En
example of that.
Colombia
In Colombia,
atendemos
we
a una
serve
población de
a
4.800 personas.
population of
Solamente tenemos
4,800 people,
200
and only
son mujeres.
13% of them are women.
Y la infraestructura que
And the
atendemos
infrastructure we serve
abarca 9 plantas cementeras
covers
en
9
unas
cement
56
plants
plantas de
in some
concreto
56
y cientos
mortar
de centrales
plants
móviles alrededor de
between
diferentes
fixed and
puntos de
mobile
distribución,
in different distribution centers,
eh, que en la suma
which
de las
in
áreas que nosotros
summary,
atendemos
the areas that
no
we
solamente los
serve
edificios y
is not only
arrendamiento
the buildings and
administrativo, estamos
administrative
hablando de
areas. We're talking
56 mil
about
metros cuadrados,
56,000 square meters,
24.000 metros cuadrados
24,000 square
aproximadamente
meters
cubiertas
cover,
y alrededor de 2 millones
and
de metros
about 2
cuadrados de
million square
áreas
meters
comunes,
of
áreas
common
públicas y
area, service
productivas,
areas,
que
and
no
gardens and so on, which
son las áreas
are
productivas.
not the productive areas.
Esta es una historia en donde yo
This is a
diría que
story in
hace
which
un
I
año y
would say
medio
that a year
nos hemos
ago, a
encontrado
year and a
con
half ago,
dificultades
we
por
found that the teams
la
which
propia
we made
organización
up
no
are
se
not
encuentra
teams who have a
profesionalmente
professional training.
diseñada para atender las áreas
Designed to serve the
de
areas
facility
of
management.
facility management.
Y tenemos un
And
grupo
we have a
de
group
alrededor de
of
50
about
personas que atendemos
50
todas las
people
áreas
who serve all
públicas ya
the
mencionadas,
areas and the public that I
que
just mentioned to you.
tenemos psicólogos,
We have psychologists,
contadores,
accountants,
administradores, algunos
administrators,
ingenieros
some engineers,
y un grupo muy diverso que ha
and a
llegado
pretty
allí por
diverse group
distintas
of
razones a lo
people who
largo de
have
la
gotten there
historia
for
y que
different reasons to
no
Argos
necesariamente con
history.
los conocimientos más adecuados para
Not necessarily
atender,
with the best
con una
knowledge,
dificultad muy
with a
grande
great difficulty,
que probablemente a muchos
which
hayamos vivido
probably
y
we
es
have
caemos en la
undergone.
operatividad.
We fall
Es
in the
tanto el día a día que nos
operational
consume
issue. We fall in operativity. We
resolver
call it so.
problemas en
So it makes
facility
it
management
hard for us
que
to solve problems in
olvidamos la
facility
estrategia,
management
olvidamos
because
pensar y
we
olvidamos
forget the
buscar
strategy
herramientas que nos
and
permitan
we forget to look
atender
for
de una manera
tools
más
which will
avanzada, más
help us
eficiente
serve in a more efficient
y
manner
más tecnológica. Hoy el
the
mundo
needs. Today, the
nos
world
exige
demands
a
from
todo este
us,
equipo
to
de
all of these
50
teams, for
personas
50 people,
estar mucho más
to be
preparados,
much more prepared
porque además en manos de
because
ellos no solo
in
hay
their
unos presupuestos
hands,
muy grandes,
not only we have
sino
big
que hay
budgets, but
unos
also
grupos de aliados, de
allied
empresas,
groups,
contratistas
companies,
y aliados de
partners,
negocio de
contractors
Cementos Argos, que junto con
from
ellos
Cementos
debemos
Argos,
atender todos los retos
with which we need to serve all the
actuales,
challenges with regards to
alinearnos con la estrategia del
aligning
negocio,
ourselves with the strategy of the
estar muy
business,
alineados con las
align
estrategias de los
with
negocios,
the
ser
business
eficientes con los
strategy,
servicios
be
que prestamos,
efficient with
ser
the services we
efectivos,
render, being effective,
y eso demanda
and
que
that requires
nuestros equipos estén supremamente bien
our teams to
preparados
be properly trained.
y exigirle de esa misma manera
And
a
in the same
nuestros
way,
proveedores,
demand
aliados de
our
negocio.
suppliers and business alliance.
Las áreas internas, nuestros
The
clientes
internal
internos nos
areas of our
exigen
internal customers
servicios de
demand
24/7,
services
nos
24/7
exigen
service,
cada vez más
and they
ser muy
also
ajustados
require
según
to
el
be
tiempo
adjusted
o
and
los presupuestos
go
o
align with the
incluso cada
budget, or
año
even
nos
every
pasan un
year they
reporte
give
de
us
muy tremendas que hacen
some
que se
reduction
vuelva
in
más
budget,
difícil la
which
gestión
makes it difficult
o
for
cada vez
us
mucho más llena de
to
retos.
manage, or at least they
Una de
show us
las,
more challenges. One of them,
a ver, nosotros las áreas que atendemos
the areas we
cubren
serve cover
de una manera directa o indirecta
directly or
todo lo que
indirectly
en la presentación indicaba
everything
que es
that in the
relacionado
initial presentation
con el
David
real
mentioned,
estate,
with
sobre el asset
everything relating with
management,
asset
project
management,
management,
project management,
el workplace
workplace
management energy,
management as well,
energía y sostenibilidad.
and energy and sustainability.
Y, pero lo hacemos
And
desde
we do
4 áreas
that from four
que
areas,
nosotros llamamos una de ellas
which we
protección de
call
recursos,
them
la otra área es el área de
resources
servicios
protection. The other
generales,
one
todo lo
is
que hemos visto
general
de
services.
viajes y
So we have trips and mobile communication in 4 area. Is a we manage document management, file management. So there's a fifth area. So perhaps tomorrow we'll have other areas. In resources protection, our focus is our scope is on prevention and collaboration with operations. We try that our entrances, when I talk about protection, resources protection, first, people. Secondly, facilities. We're talking about security companies and electronic security. We have an integrated center for monitoring and attention. So basically, we work on the prevention and having a lot of communication and have intelligence with people who work in this area to have constant communication with operations and identify risks. And we're also exposed to things like drug dealing, and for that reason, we need to participate in this. For example, in the harbors. So we're currently in a very important project of updating all the technological platform and access management, where we aim at through the software we may have less use intervention of people and have a greater selectivity with the alarms and alerts that we need to monitor, because we find these people sitting there with 50 mini screens on reading newspapers. And the truth is that the important thing is that we need to find where is it that we have an alert, the red, the whistle, so we could proactively respond. The second area is the general service area. So we have to see the issue of casinos, the food, the boarding, operational personnel, maintenance of common areas, menage, gardening, vehicles, and based on that we are given a capex, which every year they reduce the budget every more, and our obligation is to have areas that are adequate based on our policy and intentions of being an organization that provides safe places for people. So in the corporate trips management, we try to bring a lot of self-management through mobility applications where people could could make their reservations. Having self-management application tools, we are looking for a tool which would incorporate somehow all the processes: hotel, air flight tickets, and advancement in payments, to have all this recorded and reported to the respective management on how trips are being managed, and understand how money that's important in the budget and that we not manage directly in the service areas, they could be diluted or distributed in the areas, in all of the areas of the organization, and they end up being, they have they represent a very big figure. I want to focus on this. I brought this as an example. In terms of executive transportation, we have had historically many movements from our personnel between airports, one plant and the other. So we have a lot of people moving around the country. And moving the executives and coordinators, sometimes it's just that happens, but as the image shows, sometimes it's just an adventure. And so we are trying so that this may be improved with technology, standard service now, so that we may have a pretty well-trained driver. Well, what's the tool I do follow up on these things? How do I follow the order from the user? I do follow up on the user. Maybe I can have a qualification of the service, making sure that our people get safely to their destination. This also incorporates, as I told you, mobile technology. which is being already available. So in terms of central files, so we also come from very archaic files. So we this is a process we have in which we have a big job to do because our central container, our central head, it's totally our engine is totally outdated, so we need to update it not only technologically with the capacity of digital information, because one organization, because from our organization, but also to modernize the capture of documents in the process, intelligent processing of images, and the workflow that a document needs to be approved in different areas. And for that reason, we're in a bidding process. This is a story in an area under construction. Finally, I want to talk to you about a chapter that was mentioned before, the energy power as sustainability. We have began a project what we call sustainable buildings, which is this is just a logo what the construction council, American construction council does for this type of constructions. These are the 6 elements we want to work with, not specifically to obtain a certification, no, which we already have one of our buildings which has that certification, but it was not specifically the intention to get there. In buildings that are being used, which have other seals, we want to go aligned responsibly to take them to a higher level. And for that, we're going to work in each of them in this way. These are just some examples of the issues we work with. For the specific work sites in our branches, we're starting this month a mobility project. Even we're having a development with the national supplier, looking at promoting other ways of mobilization to generate awareness in our people. But many times they take their own car or a taxi. They travel individually, generating, we all know the chaos that we have in the big cities. On the part of the efficient management of water, this is just a task to be started. We want to work with our cooperators, our partners, it's to raise first inventories that we have with regards to the facilities and hygienic sanitary installations, you name it, toilets, showers, all the installations there to have the measurements of the networks and being able to establish baselines to work efficiently in terms of water management. We have facilities more than 25,000 square meters covered, and we haven't gotten so far just 1 liter from rainwater. We haven't even collected 1 liter, and this is responsibility that we all have from the facility management standpoint. In terms of illumination, lighting, in terms of or energy power, around lighting, so we have that breach there that you see in the graphic between with the consumption of intelligent bulbs, and so we have a lot of opportunities there. So those opportunities are there in all of the organizations. We could start with many places, offices, where you find that air conditioning temperature are extremely low with regards to what's really the comfort temperature, and that's waste generation. When I go to Barranquilla Argo offices, I go there to be cold, to stand the cold. In Barranquilla, Cartagena, I am freezing there. When I go to the street, okay, this is good. And it so happens that we're going to streams with regards to the management of air conditioning and illumination, lighting as well. So, so this graph shows pretty much we have to 4 times what we have in saving units that we are using there. With regards to materials and resources, it has to do with the culture. It's not so simple in an organization where perhaps we want to express the power around the size of the office and how and what my office looks like is complicated. It's not easy trying to get people into in a culture of recycling or reusage of materials. This is a pretty extreme example, but it's to call the attention on how many times we move offices from one place to another, and sometimes we just take every the furniture out and put everything there to the final asset disposition and buy the other ones. What's our contribution with the environment? With regards to innovation, and I'll finish with this, we promote a lot the fact that we look for new initiatives which may be all over the areas. From this image that I have here in capture of energy, solar light, solar power, to take you through fiber optics to places, internal parts of buildings, to proposals like we recently received in an approach with an architect, Italian architect, who developed a tower to capture water from the mist of the morning. So it's 10 meters. It could capture 10 liters of pure water. And what does it have to do with Cementos Argo? A lot, because we are interested in the communities around we work with. The mobile plants that we have there, we have in some difficult access areas. So sometimes it's difficult to have potable water. And for that reason, we want to explore a number of things there. And that's why we want to work with those water management initiatives within our work agenda. That's what I wanted to pass on to you. Thank you very much.